very good evening and a very warm welcome to State of Business on our television. I am Savindra Jayawardena. Let's look at the top stories for the day. Giant pharmaceutical facility declared open in Homagama. Cope to begin its investigations on coal-related transactions. News in detail. The state-of-the-art manufacturing plant and research and development facility of Morrison Pharmaceutical Manufacture in Sri Lanka, worth over $13.8 million was ceremonially declared open under the patronage of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa today morning. The state-of-the-art manufacturing plant and research and development facility of Morrison is situated in Sri Lanka Nanotechnology Park in Pitipana, Homagama. The construction work of this facility was initiated before 3 years. It is reported that 1.8 billion tablets are exported to the country annually, and it is expected that this new facility will be able to produce a greater amount of medicine locally. Several cabinet ministers and dignitaries also graced the event as special guests, including Minister of Health Pavitra Wanyarachi, State Minister of Production, Supply and Regulation of Pharmaceuticals Professor Channa Jayasumana, State Minister of Skills Development, Vocational Education, Research and Innovation Minister Dr. Sita Armepula, and Secretary to Minister of Trade Dr. Sunil Navaratna. The factory is ready to commence validation batches and is expected to start commercial production early next year, supporting the government's aim to manufacture essential medicines locally. The central bank report shows that the headline inflation, as measured by the year-on-year change in the Colombo Consumer Price Index, has marginally decreased by 1 decimal point to 4% in September from 4.1% in August this year. Accordingly, food inflation decreased to 11.5% in September 2020 from 12.3% in August 2020, whereas non-food inflation increased to 0.9% in September 2020 from 0.8% in August 2020. The change in the CCPI measured on an annual average basis also decreased to 4.7% in September 2020 from 4.8% in August 2020. Monthly change of CCPI recorded at 0.7% in September 2020. Accordingly, within the food category, prices of vegetables, coconut, fresh fruits and big onion increased in September 2020. The core inflation, which reflects the underlying inflation in the economy, declined to 2.9% in September 2020 from 3.2% in August 2020. Moreover, annual average core inflation also declined to 3.6% in September 2020 from 3.8% in August 2020. President of American Chamber of Commerce in Sri Lanka, Prasanta Jayamaha, stresses that Sri Lankan businesses have the opportunity to attract a trade estimated at over $150 billion over the next 5 years if we tap into the global supply chain shifts taking place in Asia. AmCham Sri Lanka re-elected President Prasanta Jayamaha brought forward these future prospects addressing its 28th annual general meeting. U.S. Ambassador to Sri Lanka and the Maldives, Elena B. Teplitz, who participated AmCham AGM as the chief guest, addressing the gathering, spoke of private sector-led growth and how it remains a very important feature of U.S. policy. Addressing the assembly of key private sector representatives across industries, guest of honor State Minister for Urban Development, Coast Conservation, Waste Disposal and Community Cleanliness Dr. Nalaka Godeheva noted that under the vision of the President, trade and investment together with ease of doing business is a key focus area. Accordingly, during the 28th annual general meeting of AmCham Sri Lanka, it was noted that despite the post-Easter terrorist attack and the challenges of the still rampant COVID-19 pandemic, the Chamber recorded a net surplus of over 3 million rupees as at the end of the financial period ending 31st March 2020. Speaking at the AGM, Prasanta Jayamaha, who is re-elected president for his second year, noted that the keystone project for 2020 and 2021 is named as Trade Shifts. Trade Shifts is a series of events, discussions and policy and advocacy engagements focused on the global supply chain shifts taking place in Asia.
we must know that a net of $2.4 billion flows into the Sri Lankan economy each year through trade with the US. My heart is to increase trade. That is what I want to do this year. See, what I believe is when the doors of commerce open, there is wealth creation across the value chain, the entire value chain. US businesses and investors have been seeking alternative supply countries and supply nations outside China for the last 2 years. That the COVID-19 resultant disruptions to the global supply chain has really accelerated this decision. Industries that have moved or expect to shift are key sectors for us, such as electrical, pharmaceutical, apparel, food and beverage, furniture, medical devices, solar equipment, chemical, boats, automotive parts, and the list goes on. The value of the trade shifts are estimated at over $150 billion over the next 4 years. This is real and available.
Stay tuned for more news right after this break. Welcome back after the break. The Communications Department of Parliament announces that the Committee on Public Enterprises of the 9th Parliament will commence its proceedings next Tuesday, summoning the officials of Lanka Coal Company Private Limited. Accordingly, the COPE Committee will meet for 5 days from 6th to 23rd October. Accordingly, the Lanka Coal Company Private Limited is scheduled to be summoned before the COPE Committee based on the special audit report submitted by the Auditor General on the procurement of coal by Lanka Coal Company Private Limited for the Noracholi Lakwija Coal Power Station from 2009. Given the report, its officials have been summoned to the COPE Committee on the 6th of October 2020. Chairman and Parliamentarian Professor Charita Herath said that COPE has summoned the relevant authorities on the 8th of October to discuss the Auditor General's special report on the operations of the Lakwija Power Station and its environmental impact. The special audit report on feasibility study and procurement activities of the Central Express project will be taken up before the COPE Committee on the 20th of October, to which the Road Development Authority and the relevant project management units have been summoned. The Water Board, the Board of Investment of Sri Lanka, the Central Environmental Authority and the local government authorities have been summoned before the COPE Committee on 21st of October to take into discussion the environmental audit report on water pollution of the Kalani River. In addition, the Coconut Development Authority, the Coconut Cultivation Authority, the Coconut Cultivation Board and the Coconut Research Institute have been summoned before the COPE Committee on the 23rd of October. Company establishment reforms, tea estate crops, tea factory modernization and tea export diversification, State Minister Kanaka Herath calls upon the Colombo Tea Traders Association to formulate plans to make Sri Lanka meet a greater supply from the global tea consumption, which is forecasted to be 5.8 billion metric tons next year. He made these observations addressing the recent 126th annual general meeting of Colombo Tea Traders Association held in Colombo.
Hope you would continue your support based mainly on two vital factors. A, cooperate with the relevant stakeholders to increase the production, being aware of the fact that the global tea consumption is forecasted to reach 5.8 billion metric tons in year 2021, with well over half of this to be from Asian region. Currently, 51% of tea from Sri Lanka is exported to Iran, Iraq, Turkey and Russia, to a volatile market with frequent unpredictable situations. B, promote, re-establish the legacy of Ceylon tea to a sustainable, vigorous global market, depending on the demand for value-added brands, green tea, organic tea, wild tea, with ready-to-drink beverages. These objectives could be achieved through know-how and experience of your organization to the tea-growing community, manufacturers and marketing agencies. Also, giving due consideration to the proposed steps suggested in the strategic plan, which is presently being prepared by the Ministry, covering all the above mentioned subjects in collaboration with your plan as well.
First Capital Holdings states that the trading in stock market saw a mixed reaction during this week as markets saw a negative move with the sudden downgrading of the Moody's. The investment institution First Capital emphasizes that a positive outlook was later seen towards the latter part of the week with the repayment of $1 billion sovereign this week.
This was a mixed week for the stock market this week, mainly because if we start off on Monday, we had a significant surge in the market, continuing from last week, the upward trend, where retailers were very bullish and buying interest was quite strong. However, as the week went along on Tuesday and Wednesday, with the sudden downgrade of Moody's, where we saw the country sovereign rating was downgraded by 2 notches by Moody's, and with that some negativity came into the market, and we saw significant selling pressure even from the local front hitting the market on both Tuesday and Wednesday as the index fell by a large sum of index points. However, we had this 6,000 psychological barrier, and on Monday, though it was breached, afterwards with the downward trend, again the index came below the 6,000 mark. And if we take on Friday, with the $1 billion sovereign, which was due to be paid by the Sri Lankan government, being the money being transferred and payment being done, there was some positivity coming back into the market again.
Bringing the forecast for the coming week, First Capital Holdings highlights that the positive momentum of the market will continue in the coming week. On a significant note, Head of Research of First Capital, Dimantha Matthew, explained that the sizable interest in the market can be expected mainly from the mid-cap counters.
Looking at the coming week, with taking on the positive sentiment of the repayment of the $1 billion sovereign, we feel that this positive sentiment will flow on during the week, and the retail and high net worth investors will be more positive to buy into the market. So with that, we feel that there will be sizable interest in the market, mainly from the local front, and that is likely to be more concentrated on the mid-cap counters. Blue chips also, we feel that will have a bit of interest, but with foreign outflow likely to continue in the coming weeks, the interest in the blue chips might be a bit slow. But comparatively, with the valuations being more attractive now in the blue chip counters, we feel that there will be sizably higher portion of interest in blue chip counters in the coming weeks.
Stay tuned for stock updates right now. Welcome back after the break. The trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a mixed note today. The All Share Price Index gained 65.33 points to close at 6,050.17, and the S&P SL20 dropped 8.84 points to close at 2,454.43. The turnover was 3.2 billion rupees and over 215 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex rates. That's all news for today. See you on Sunday with Biz Roundup at 7 p.m. Until then, take care and good night.